Andrew Nicholson gave actually quite a good talk at the get-together at Tattersall last winter, and his point was he thinks riders treat them totally differently. A designer like Giuseppe said, in Italy, he doesn't like using them because people will just run at them because they'll know that they'll come down. That's one of the reasons he is so adamant, or was so adamant, about having the penalty points, because he doesn't want someone to end up in the middle of a fence, have it collapse or give way, stay on their feet and win the event. He felt quite strongly that there needs to be some penalty. Andrew's point, he thought it should be a bigger penalty than just the 11. As a designer, if I can make the rider pay attention, they'll ride it better. If I make it so easy looking, I could put a small fence out in the middle of a field and it would ride worse than something big and scary. So the trick is, I think, to make it look impressive, to make the rider pay attention and sit up and ride it well. That's where I think it's great to be able to use some of the pins and MIMs and stuff like that, because we're seeing more and more open oxers, which riders will respect a little bit more than a table. And there's a great series of pictures that I think the Germans put out where they take a single table that's not decorated, and then they add a tiny ground line, and then more ground line, and more, and then too much ground line. And it's a great example of, in certain situations, you want them to sit up and jump around the jump, and then actually the one that looks the nicest, covered with fruit and flowers and everything, it looks like you just put your hands down and run at it. So you're asking for a totally different question, the exact same jump. So that's a good example, a visual example. So we, in design seminars and stuff, we spend a lot of time, one, on decoration. You put a slight turn into a jump. It'll help them bat the horse balance despite what the rider's doing up a little bit hill. So there are tons of things that we can do to make it ride better, which I think is imperative that we do whenever we can. But I think having something that the riders respect is the key. I'm a lot more comfortable if someone comes in off of walking one of my courses and says, wow, there's a lot to do. Then I feel confident. I get nervous when they come in and they say, oh, that looks pretty easy. I know as a rider, I've had the stupidest mistakes when I think the course is easy. Then all of a sudden I'm sitting on the ground thinking, that wasn't so easy.